Hi everyone, it's Mr. Tristan and welcome to episode 6 of our Survivor 50 recap. Now this was a big episode, so I'll try to sum it up without talking too much. So the episode starts off with Rizzo teaching Rick Devens how to say 12 in Albanian, and I think he said it was like Dumlat or something. I don't know. I don't speak Albanian, so yeah. Dee and Jonathan have a little discussion on the beach because Jonathan was blindsided over the Charlie vote because he thought it was going to be Rizzo that was going. Dee promised that they were still good, but if I was Jonathan, I wouldn't think too much of it because once you blindside someone like that, it's really hard to earn their trust back. Just then, a boat shows up to each tribe and lets them know that the tribes are merging, which we already knew that. As Vatu was waiting for the other two tribes to show up, Ozzy and Christian have a talk, and Ozzy reveals to Christian that he has an idol, showing that he trusts him again. I'm like, you better. Because I was so worried about Christian the previous episode. So all three tribes were joined together on one beach, and it was a 17-person merge, which is probably the largest merge I've ever seen in the history of Survivor. And everybody is getting off the boats, they're talking, they're hugging, they're saying how great it is to meet one another, and it's a lot to follow. And of course, news does travel pretty fast because before we know it, everybody knows that Aubrey has an idol and Ozzy has an idol that he got from Genevieve. But nobody knew about the idol that Rizzo has, which was also given to him by Genevieve. Meanwhile, Sari, she's said something about how she has a poly alliance with Ozzy and Rizzo because they both have a special place in her heart. I mean, hey, the more allies you have, the better. Meanwhile, Jonathan is talking to everybody. This is the most I've ever seen Jonathan talk, even in Survivor 42. Which led me to believe that this was going to be a big episode for him. As everybody's settling into their merge camp, getting to know one another, another boat shows up and it tells them that there is a twist hidden somewhere in the jungle. Next thing you know, it's a mad dash to find it. And we've all seen this before in the new era. The tribes all get together and all of a sudden there's something hidden and somebody is bound to find it. After Ozzy does this little meditation or whatever he does, he turns around and he finds it. And I'm like, dang it! I didn't really want him to find anything else. And as Ozzy's opening it, he's like, I hope it's not Exile. And when he opens it, it tells him that he's going to Exile Island. Hey, Ozzy gets to go to Exile Island twice. However, he doesn't go alone. He got to choose one person to go with him, and he chose Rizzo. So Ozzy and Rizzo will get to spend some alone time on Exile Island, leaving the other 15 to get ready to go to their immunity challenge, where we find out that there is this blood moon twist, where the 15 players would be split into 3 groups of 5, and they all would be competing for individual immunity. One person from each group would win immunity, and one person from each group would be voted out. And then the remaining 14 people would make it to jury. Also, the person that lasts the longest wins for their group Applebee's. So that's extra motivation for them. I mean, if I was on Survivor and one of the rewards was Applebee's, I would make sure that my group was the one that won. So Team 1 is Jonathan, Stephanie, Camilla, Chrissy, and Tiffany. Team 2 is Rick Devens, Christian, Genevieve, Aubrey, and Joe. And finally, Team 3, we got Coach, Colby, Dee, Sari, and Emily. After the whole thing went done, the 3 winners from their groups were Dee, Christian, and Stephanie. And because Stephanie lasts the longest out of everybody, her group got to eat Applebee's. Meanwhile, on Exile Island, Ozzy reveals to Rizzo that he has an idol, and Rizzo does the same. They were talking about how Suri wants the two of them to start working together, which is why they told each other that they have idols. So, safe to say that they're probably going to be one of the most powerful duos in this game, being that they both have idols. So, we'll see how long they last. So, Stephanie's team is eating Applebee's at the Sanctuary, and Tiffany, who we haven't heard from much in the past 6 episodes, tells us that she does not want Chrissy to make it to jury. I was like, dang. Like, Chrissy has not had the best road from the beginning. So I was like, oh boy. So on Christian's team, Christian and Rick want to vote for Genevieve. However, they worry that Genevieve has some advantage. So they contemplated voting for Joe, which I was worried about because, like I said before, I love Joe. And I did not want Joe to be voted out. And every time I hear them think about voting for Joe, in case Genevieve has an advantage, I keep saying to the TV, she does not have anything. Meanwhile, Genevieve and Joe are talking about voting out Aubrey, because Genevieve's wanted to get out Aubrey from the beginning. I don't know why, but for some reason, Genevieve's had it out for Aubrey. And then we get to Dee's group, where it's a little bit more chaotic. So Emily, Dee, and Suri were all contemplating who they were going to vote out between Coach and Colby, neither of which I wanted to see get voted out. Coach tries to tell Dee that Emily threw her name out, and then instantly got caught in his lie after Dee was like, why didn't you tell me? Not a good move, Coach. Not a good move. Should have said something earlier. Then again, I don't think Coach knew about the whole group split scenario. I mean, I don't think anybody did. I didn't. The only reason I even knew about it was when I saw the challenge, which was like the one where they were perched against a wall with like these narrow footholds to put your feet on. And I saw that they were like 3 different colors. So I knew that they were going to be split into 3 groups when I saw that. But they wouldn't have known about it until they saw it. So the girls do consider voting out Coach over Colby because Colby had an injury on his foot, so he was likely going to be medevaced. Meanwhile, Colby is pleading his case to Dee that if he's still in the game, he would go to his allies and be like, listen, we got to keep Dee. And so it's just like back and forth. Who are they going to vote for? This whole season's been back and forth. Like, I keep doing this every single episode, like, because it's always a toss-up. So before we have Tribal Council, we go right back to Stephanie's team, where Jonathan ends up being caught in the middle, because Camilla and Tiffany want to vote out Chrissy. Chrissy and Stephanie want to vote out Camilla, which leaves Jonathan contemplating where he's going to go. On one hand, I don't really know if he talked to Chrissy very much, but on the other hand, Camilla went behind his back on the Charlie vote, so that's good enough reason to not trust her. So they get to Tribal Council, and as they're voting, I see Jonathan's the last one, and I think, oh boy, what's he going to do? And my prediction was that he voted for Chrissy. But when Jeff read the last vote and it said Camilla, I was shocked. Like, I was shocked. I mean, I knew that Camilla wasn't going to last too long this season, but I did not think she was going to go out this early. I expected her to at least make it to jury. So, that was probably the biggest shocker I've seen this season. Probably more shocking than the Mike vote. Next, we have Christian's team, where after the voting, Genevieve plays her shot in the dark, and it turns out to not be that she was not safe. And Genevieve ends up being voted out 4-0. Now, because Genevieve got voted out, the 2 people that she gave those idols to, Rizzo and Ozzy, get to keep their idols. Way to go, Genevieve. You find 2 idols, turn out you have to give them to other people, and you end up getting voted out, so you got nothing. And then finally, we have Dee's group, which was a lot more emotional. Because you hear mostly from Coach and Colby, mostly Colby. Colby's like talking about how he still didn't have his vote from his journey with Savannah, and he knew that he was probably going to be the one voted out, not only because he doesn't have a vote, but because he has an injury on his foot. And while he's talking, Dee starts crying, and bro, that's not cool. That's not cool. Got interrupted by a plane. As I was saying, Dee started crying because this was a very emotional vote. But meanwhile, Emily just kind of looks like she has no emotion. And I'm just like, is there ever going to be an episode where Emily does not get on my nerves? Seriously? So when the votes came down, it was 4-0. Colby is the one voted out. And watching Colby get his torch snuffed, I shed a tear. So what did I think about the 3 people that were voted out? Let's start with Camilla. I mean, we didn't really get to see much of Camilla. So, I mean, her getting voted out wasn't too bad of a thing. I don't know. I didn't really get to see much of her, so I can't really say anything. Now, Genevieve, she played a little bit harder, and I think she did have a little bit more of a social game, so she definitely did better than she did in 47, but she didn't do good enough, which is probably why she got out. And now, Colby. You know, when I first started watching Survivor, it was heroes versus villains with Colby. And when I got to watch back at his past seasons, and I saw how Colby played, I thought Colby was like this all-American guy. He has a heart of gold, and he's probably one of the most popular old-school survivors. Probably still is. And watching him get his torch snuffed, like I said, I cried because I did not want Colby to be out. I said in the previous episode that I wanted him to win. And so I was very, very upset. But Colby did say that he had the most fun that he ever did on Survivor, which made me happy because if you're able to take away something very positive from your experience on Survivor, then that's enough of an accomplishment. So I guess that's where Colby's Survivor journey officially ends. I definitely think that Colby will be missed in the Survivor community because I don't think there were a lot of dry eyes during his vote out. All I gotta say is, Colby, thank you for being part of Survivor for 25 years. Thank you. So now we have to wait for our next episode where it's gonna get crazier from there because obviously Tiffany is not very happy with Jonathan, and apparently Coach is upset about something, and I guess he's contemplating revenge. I don't know what is going to happen, but we'll have to find out when the next episode comes out. So what I thought about this, I thought it was a crazy episode. I was okay with the Blood Moon twist until Colby got voted out. Then I wasn't really happy about it. But it was a very unique twist. And I knew that they had to do something with the amount of days they had left. So I guess that's their way of doing things. I definitely think that had the whole group split thing gone a little differently, things could have gone differently. Let's say Joe was on Dee's team over, let's say, Suri. And let's say the vote went down where Coach and Joe kept Colby. Here's how it could have gone down. Colby still didn't have his vote, but if Coach and Joe voted for, let's say, Emily, then the vote would have been 2-2. And then, because Colby already didn't have his vote, he didn't have to worry about that. And then Emily wouldn't vote, so the vote could have been 2-1. Colby stays over Emily. But that's just a hypothetical scenario. Obviously, it didn't happen because Joe was on a different team. But, you know, the episode went down the way it did. And, you know, whether we like it or not, we have to accept it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.